Hello, my lovely inkblots, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Ash, and I am an author and a VTuber, among other things. If I sound a little different today, that is because this is a different kind of video. I'm recording it differently, and I am also getting over being sick, and I am a little over 3 weeks on testosterone now, so that's fun. But anyway, today I am uploading the first video in a series that I am going to call Design Dialogue. And this is a series where I'm going to kind of show off the random character design or VTuber model design stuff that I am working on and kind of explain the process and the thoughts behind it. Anyway, recently I decided to redesign one of my old spring outfits from my old model, and I had ideas but they didn't work out. So the new design is very different from the original, but I'm still very happy with how it turned out. I ended up working on this design live on stream, which should be the footage you're seeing right now. But the full video for the whole stream is available up on my channel, and it should also be available to view on Twitch, since I now stream on both occasionally. So the first issue that I ran into with this design was I could not figure out what colors to use. I had a couple of palettes ready on the side anyway, but it just didn't work out. And eventually I managed to figure it out with some guidance from the lovely ink blots that were there in my chat. As usual, the lower half of the model is a bit more basic, especially because with a VTuber model you aren't going to see much below, the chest or middle of the torso. And so after I figured out the cardigan, I started to work on some other accessories, and I was planning on just doing a necklace, but someone suggested a choker and I just had to do it, and I had to add a bell because, catboy. So to show you real quick, this is the concept we started with, and this is what we ended up getting with my new model. Now, honestly, it took a little while for me to get started on the textures in VRoid Studio since I got sick, but I actually managed to get all of these done in one sitting. Since I already had the textures for the pants and the shoes sorted out, I jumped straight into sketching the shirt and the cardigan together. Usually I would make them two separate textures on like two different meshes to add a little bit more depth, but I figured that I could fake it with some shading this time around, and I didn't want to deal with them potentially clipping. Then I took the sketch that I made in VRoid Studio, threw it into Clip Studio Paint, and I got to work and actually found some shortcuts this time around. At first I tried to do line work like normal, but I realized that Clip Studio Paint has an option to put outlines on whatever is on a specific layer, and I decided to work smarter this time around, not harder. I was also surprised by how much the curves in the original sketch weren't really needed, and it honestly looked great with straighter lines in my opinion. This alone saved me so much time, and I got the basic stuff down in like record time. After I got those base colors down, I started adjusting the shape of the cardigan and the shirt a little bit to make it look a bit more natural and fit my model better, and then I started working on the finer details. At first I had a hard time placing the pockets, but I figured it out just by, kind of looking at where they sat on the mesh. I always tend to do the finer details second because my shading goes over top of everything, and I don't rely on VRoid shading settings to shade my textures. But we'll get into how I shade my textures later. And of course, I had to add the kitty semicolon to the shirt. If you know, you know. So now we're moving on to shading, and while it looks difficult to color clothing folds like this, I actually have a really easy method. So what I do is I take an airbrush tool and I airbrush a few lines, and then I take a soft eraser and I erase the top. This makes it to where you have some soft shading that has a few hard edges, if that makes sense, and it actually does end up looking like clothing folds. I'm actually really proud of how they came out on the undershirt. I also did something new here, which is I added a gradient kind of shadow to add a little bit more depth. It's very subtle, so I'm not sure if you can really even see the effect, but I really liked how it made the t-shirt look. And of course, I had to redraw the lines for the pockets because the pattern covered it all. I also added more details so you can actually tell that they're meant to be pockets. After I was done with that, I went ahead and moved on to the accessories. I actually ended up duplicating a different necklace that I made previously, since it's been a while since I've made necklaces in VRoid Studio. And at first I wanted to put the choker and the necklace on the same mesh, but I quickly realized when I was playing around with the parameters and everything that I had to put them on 2 different meshes, because otherwise they just would not look right. Also, I mentioned this on stream, but I really like doing shading for metal details. It's always super fun. And while the necklace and the choker are saved as one file in Clip Studio Paint, I did end up separating the PNGs, so that way I could go ahead and apply them separately to the 2 different meshes. After I threw it all together, this is what I ended up with, and I am really happy with how it turned out. I'll probably be using this model until this summer. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to participate in one of my designing streams, subscribe or follow me on Twitch. I stream on both simultaneously now. If you have any questions about VRoid Studio or working on textures, let me know with a comment. I'll try to respond to everything, and your question might end up being its own video. I also do LGBTQ+ manga reviews, and I also make videos about my writing projects, so stay tuned for those. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!